Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is another very elegant research work, and you may like to see it. And I will read it, and I will try to read in a single video, but it is still possible that I may read it in two videos. So while reading, you may not see the pages, but I have shown you. Ayah 28:38 Al-Quran. I know not for you any Ilah other than me or myself. So before trying to find what the Kemetic word for which the Arabic sacred verse 28:38 useth the word Ilah, there are some preliminaries which are prerequisites. Number one, first preliminary, the word Ilah is a generic word in Arabic and can be used for any type of Ilah. God, G small, God, G capital, deity, D small, deity, D capital. Second, preliminary, polytheists of Arab use this word for Lat, Uzza, Manat, etc., which are believed to be lesser deities, and obviously they use it for the supreme being. Third preliminary, Kemetic texts rarely present a single metaphysical category of deities. They may navigate a spectrum of divine embodiment or incarnation with math. Fourth preliminary, Abrahamic God is an eternal, beginningless, incontingent, and necessary being, uncreated and uncaused. That is very important. Now I will show you. So if you want to read it yourself, you may pause or still the video and see it after zooming or magnifying it. Fifth preliminary, Kemetic deities had a beginning. They were quasi-eternal, quasi-absolute, and quasi-ontological. That is very important thing, that Kemetic gods in heavens, or heavenly Kemetic gods or deities, were supposed to have a beginning. They were not like the God of Abrahamic religion. Sixth preliminary, a living Pharaoh was believed to be an embodiment or incarnation of a heavenly god, say Horus, while a dead Pharaoh was considered to be an embodiment or incarnation of another god or another heavenly god. Sixth preliminary, a Pharaoh was a nature by office, a neb by authority, and a nesu by function, not an ontological deity like Abrahamic God, not a quasi-ontological deity, but an operative proximate deity. So, or active proximate deity. It is very important to note that Pharaoh was believed to be a god, but his divinity was different. He was not believed to be a god like an Abrahamic god. He was also not believed to be a Kemetic god, heavenly god, but still he was believed to be a god. Pharaoh believed himself as a terrestrial god, and the heavenly gods either could not intervene in his domain or did not intervene in his domain if they could, and never intervene. So this is a very strong thing to be noted, that the heavenly gods had either did not have the power to intervene in the dominion of Pharaoh, or they had the power but they never intervene if they had the power or if they could. Eight, preliminary Kemetic theology. God in Abrahamic religion is absolute divinity, but heavenly gods in Kemetic beliefs cannot be termed as absolute divinity. They at best can be termed as quasi absolute divinities. A pharaoh with wide in power and in alive was active proximate divinity or functional proximate divinity. We may define each one as follow, and this is a very important thing, and I am going to define it. Number one, absolute divinity, a being whose ontological status is beginningless, independence, and per se subsistent. Quasi absolute divinity or pseudo absolute divinity, a being who is not beginningless, such a being is a quasi ontological deity. These deities were contingents and emergent. This is a very important thing to be noted. Active proximate divinity, a being who exercises divinity in a functional authority. Now we come to the ninth preliminary, functional oneness, exclusively of divine acts exclusivity of divine acts within a domain can overrule by anyone. But this is very thing, that the divine acts with in which that means that in the dominion of Pharaoh, he had the power, and no one had the power to exercise in his dominion. He had the power to overrule anyone. Now we come to the 10th preliminary. Kemeticism believed that there were multitudes of deities in heavens, yet there was just one god deity on earth in Egypt. Thus he was functional one. Thus it is the functional oneness of the deity. And it is very important to note that their belief was that there were multitudes of deities in heavens, but just one terrestrial deity, and they believed in plurality of heavenly gods of, and there are two both of both genders, but only one god on earth in Egypt. Now we come to the 11th preliminary, and it is very important. God of Moses was not an addition to the pantheon of heavenly deities. He was a god whose ontological oneness and absolute authority was denying his authority and divinity. Once he was the only god in Egypt, but the God of Moses was commanding him as he was his slave. That means the Pharaoh was supposed to be the slave of the God of Moses, and God of Moses was commanding as Pharaoh was his slave, not just subordinate. And this was the thing that Pharaoh was not believing in the God of Moses, a, a God who was ontologically the only God, whose ontological oneness denied not only the divinities of the heavenly gods but also the divinity of the only terrestrial God, it is Pharaoh. Now we come to the 12th parallel Mani. Pharaoh was not believed to be a metaphorical Pharaoh. Pharaoh was not believed to be a metaphorical god, not considered to be a figurative deity. A Pharaoh was believed to be an operative deity, an active deity, but neither ontological nor eternal. And it may be noted that there are examples of calling someone as God in metaphorical sense of metaphysical meanings, but Pharaoh was not a god in that sense. Now we come to the last thing, and this is very important. You may see it. Pharaoh probably used Kemetic word neter nefer, meaning good God or perfect God or even young God. As his as this was a kind of God deities, the only word which was in Arabic alternative, only word which was its Arabic alternative is Ilah. Maybe so the Pharaoh responded, I do not know netter nefer for you other than me. Actually, the terrestrial god netter nefer was a type of god. It is just not a name, it is a type of god, or type of deity. And the Arabic word for all such types was Ilah. That was the reason that Ilah was used. Another possibility is that the Pharaoh used the word Neterwa. This is another possibility. He might omit the word, and in the first possibility, he might omitted the word Nefer while saying Nefer in order to present him as a contradicting to the God of Moses, a contradicting one to the God of Moses. The Pharaoh of Moses might have used the word, used some words other pharaohs did not use or few pharaohs did use. It's a very important thing. So this is very important thing, and you should see that the Pharaoh of Moses might have used some words which were not used by other pharaohs. In translating Pharaoh's claim, I am the good God, or I am the only good God in Arabic, the word which can be used from Arabic words is Ilah, since it was a generic word, and it it is a and it encompasses term for a deity, whether created or uncreated, eternal or non-eternal. This is a very important thing. So I have shown you that the Arabic word for any type of God was Ilah, and it was used. But if there is a confusion due to this use of this word, interpretations, I mean non-literal interpretations, becomes necessary. Hope that things are clear now. Tamat.